Well, I guess it's time to get inside the car here and finish up this general region. What's up, y'all? Welcome back. If you're new here, welcome to the video, welcome to the channel. We got lots of stuff to do inside the car. Dash, wiring, some other things gotta be cleaned up and buttoned up into here. So I figured what better time than now to get inside of here, get this stuff going, and get ourselves one step closer to that first start. Okay, we got the dash here, and I'm gonna try to clean this thing up a little bit. It's been sitting around. It's got lots of dust and stuff on it. And I'm gonna also look into removing this top pad right here. I think I can just get it off with a couple screws in the back there, because this Mitsubishi recall thing with this airbag, they've been sending me stuff for, I mean, since I bought the car, like daily, seems like. And so I've called a couple dealerships and I'm like, can I just bring you the dash and you swap this thing out? And they're like, no, we gotta have the whole car, blah, blah, blah. So I really don't want them to take this dash pad off, because I've heard a lot of horror stories about people getting their dashes messed up and all that kind of stuff. And I would like to avoid that if I can. So yeah, I'm gonna try that first and see where it gets us. As I'm sitting here cleaning this dash up, it just hit me, which it seems like something that you wouldn't forget about. I need to remove the steering column. I need to put the steering column back onto the steering shaft that came through the firewall. So yeah, I guess we're taking the steering column off. Now, you might be asking yourself, why are you doing this now? Why didn't you just put the steering shaft on whenever you were putting the shaft back in the car? Good question. I just thought it would be easier at the time to just take the steering shaft off, or the steering column out, and pop it onto the shaft this way. We'll find out if my assumptions were correct. Let's see, where is the other bolt? Hello? I think it's just this one right here. Oh, what am I doing? Where's my socket? Oops, why are you falling on me already? There's two more back here, so I guess now that the steering wheel has fallen onto me, I guess I'm holding it up with my body till I can get it out. My apologies for not showing you more detail, but you know, I'll show you after what we had to do. I also need to, I got a new ignition switch, or starter switch, I think is what it's called, because I'm gonna put in this top bolt, because this is killing me. When I first got the car back from the shop the first time, when I first got it home, it was having issues starting sometimes. Like the switch just wasn't connecting, like it wouldn't even turn over. And so I read a little bit about it, and those switches apparently go bad. So I ordered a new one of those, and so I do have to put that in. We'll get this back one out, and then I should be able to just get it out of the console area here and pick it up and slide it down onto the shaft. Ooh, I also have to put back in that fuel pump relay that I have laying around somewhere in here. So hopefully, once I get this thing unbolted, these wiring harnesses will allow me to take out the distance that I need to go. Everyone cross your fingers. Ouch. Woo! Okay, we're out. Now, can I work it? I cannot. Oh shit. Okay, hang on. Let's keep you up here. Then that gets it out pretty dang on far, but it's still not far enough. Holy crap. So now the question is, how far do I gotta go? The issue is very clearly this wiring harness right here. Fuck me. I need a Phillips head. There we go. Luckily I have one right here. What do you know? This is the ignition switch that we have to replace anyway, so maybe I can get this thing. Ha. Okay, so now that this thing is essentially all the way out, I should be able to move this thing freely, right? So let me just run this through my arm. That'll be that. I can reach down, get the steering shaft. Why won't this shaft, like I understand that the teeth have to line up, but also, why are you not just lining up? I mean, what the fuck? This is very frustrating, I'm not gonna lie to you. Pull that, pull this. Okay, everything now should be friggin' unhooked. Guys, this is a 1 out of 10 right here. Oh my God, the balancing act with which this takes. Okay, this will be much easier now, I think. I'm gonna pull this all the way out. Look at these daggone teeth. These splines are not that big. Like, it shouldn't take this much. I think I got it. Woo, good grief. That took way too long. I think I just got lucky that time, but let's just get one bolt in here so I can be done holding this thing up in the air. Okay, we got everything bolted down on the steering column. Anyway, I'm gonna go into the car, I'm gonna put back all the wiring that we just undone, and I'll replace that ignition switch. But first, let me try to explain to you what all I was talking about with this shaft, sleeve, all that kind of stuff. So this here is the steering shaft that comes through the firewall. This is the steering column sleeve. So this shaft has to slide into this sleeve, and then this little clamp right here, this tension clamp, that has to be squeezed so it can go into that sleeve at the bottom there. That kind of clamps everything in place, and there are splines in there that it has to slide into. And it just would not go in there. I don't want to say that the grease did everything, but it definitely, I mean, the second attempt after putting the grease on there, it went right in. So maybe it did, I don't know. We'll definitely have to check this out. I mean, the steering wheel was locked, so it was, you know, it is what it is. So it was kind of crooked to start with whenever we first started taking the car apart. And when I was first driving it, I noticed that like the wheel was a little bit crooked. So we may have to like take the wheel off and fix all that at some point. Once we get the car aligned and the front wheels are straight, we'll adjust this. But for now, I'm good with that. Okay, Madoka, we got all that stuff in there taken care of. Everything is bolted back down. All the wires are taken care of. And looking under here, it looks like there are quite a few screws that I can remove to get this top cover off of here. I'm thinking about just unscrewing this thing, but upon looking at it, it looks as though the airbag portion is like attached to this top part. Like it's not part of the bottom part of the dash. That would defeat the purpose of taking the car. See, I thought that this airbag portion was like bolted to the frame of the dash, and I figured if I could just take the top cover off, they could access it and do what they gotta do to change it. But if it's attached to the cover, then that doesn't do me a whole lot of good, right? I really don't want to just take the car over there and cross my fingers that they get the thing out of there without messing it up. You know what I'm saying? We'll figure it out at some other time. I don't have time to worry about that right now. That's been an open recall for literal years, and so it'll be fine. I wonder how they get that out of there. There's no shot they take the dash out, right? I think I might have to just I think I want to call the dealership and be like, what's your process? Like, how do you do this? Because I know good and well you're not going to remove the whole dash. They may, but because it said the time to fix it was 2 hours. I don't know about that. I don't know. Dealerships don't usually spark the confidence of haste whenever they're working on a car, but it is a free recall, so they're not getting paid by the hour, so you never know. All right, let's see if we can get this thing in here. We might have to drop the steering column a beat. That's as far down as it goes. Are you serious? Okay. Well, now isn't that a weird sight to see? So what had to happen was, I'll give you a guess. Remember that steering column? we had to drop that down again to get it out of the way so we could get the dash over it. I thought I did the tilt and that was enough, but when I did the tilt and it didn't move at all, and I already had it tilted down, I was like, okay, so we got to take this thing back off of there again. So we lowered the steering column down, got the dash over into there. Everything seems to be where it's supposed to be. We got bolts already in it and all that, so we're just going to go around, put in all the, I think there's 12 bolts into this thing. We'll put all 12 in there, and the dash will be locked down. Okay, I've got a lot of stuff taken care of in here. The dash is bolted in. There are 2 bolts that I'm missing. Well, not missing, I have them. I just don't know where they go on the dash. I gotta go back and watch my older video and see where those things go. But now I want to work on the HVAC and relocating it. If you haven't watched the other videos, I will link it up top, but we already went through and ground out the back of these brackets here. You can see the cables coming through right there. We ground them out on this side as well. So it should be simple from this point on. We've already got the grinding and all that stuff done. So let me grab the climate controls and we'll put this thing down on the bottom because we are running a double DIN, or will be running a double DIN once we get everything back together here. Okay, got everything hooked up. You can see right here, I went under with the black wire and over with the blue, or cable, and it seems to be working okay. We are pretty far out from the dash there, but I picked up this fancy little guy, and we just pushed this thing against the face of the control module, and then we just screw it in, just like we normally would on the regular piece. And so this thing should bolt right up. I did a little test fit, and it looks like it's going to work out pretty awesome. So we got some new OEM HVAC decals as well, so let's get those stuck on there, and then we can mount this thing on. And all right, these things are now stuck on there, and they are good to go. These things look awesome, not faded, nothing like that. Brand spanking new. You know, honestly, that looks really, really good. It looks a little bit blacker than the dash, but to be honest, you can't really tell unless it's in here. This lighting is pretty shitty, and so the super brightness makes it look a little worse than it is on camera, I think, because in person you can't really tell. So it is on the bottom of the dash as well. But yeah, that is awesome. And there we go, all finished up. This thing looks super good. I'll try to find the link for this thing because I ordered it a long time ago. So if I can find it, I'll link it down below and you can snag it if you want to. Okay, now I want to move on to this little project. This is the little switch panel that goes on the corner of the dash. This is not the gauge we're using, but it is the same size. So I'm going to put this thing on here and I'm going to trace out what I need to drill out here or Dremel out. We're going to be putting a volt gauge in this position on the lower side of the dash there, and so I want to go ahead and get this thing trimmed out, and hopefully this goes well. And if not, it has the part number on the back here, and so I can just order another one. It's like 12 bucks, I think. So we're going to give this a shot and see what we can do. And then we will finish it off right here by doing that. And I think those corners may actually come in benefit whenever we go to Dremel this thing out. So okay, got that tab off. Now we go here. Now that tab's off. Those are the ones from the side I was worried about. So got those out of the way. Now we can begin trimming what's left of this right here. Okay, one giant pile of plastic later, I got around my circle dremeled out, so let's put the gauge in and see if that will work. Oh, beautiful. With the bezel that goes around this gauge, that should cover it up nicely, and you can't even see the corners, just barely. But like I say, the bezel will take care of that. Next up, while we're doing some mods on the dash and some things that are going to fit onto the dash, I would like to work on the cluster a little bit. We have this little piece right here, this matte carbon gauge cluster surround that I want to pop onto there. So let's pop off this little clear cover, get this thing stuck on there. All right, we got this thing cleaned off. Now once we get this cluster done and get the cluster reinstalled, man, are we close to being able to start the car. Now we'll take the alcohol and we'll rub around on our current cluster surround. We're gonna lay this right on here, right like that, and that is gonna look pretty daggone rad. And there we have it. That looks sick. Oh yeah, I don't think I ever showed you, when we put the steering column back in, this is the new ignition switch I was talking about, and this one here is the old one. I had heard tale of these going bad, so I figured, like I said, while we're here, we might as well change it out, and so hopefully that fixes our issue. So, I was super lucky because all the gauges that I have inside the car are these Defi blue racer gauges, and in my opinion, they have not made a cooler gauge since these. These are from mid-2000s or whatever. They're discontinued, obviously, because everything I try to find is discontinued. But like a year or so ago, I went online and I was able to track down one of these. I think this came from Australia? Somewhere far away, and I was able to track these things down, and I got two of them. I got the EGT gauge, like I've explained already, that we had to change out the sensor for, and then I got this guy. And this guy is a volt gauge, and I wanted to put one of these in the car for a while, and so at the time, I was like, I'll just buy it, and then I'll hang on to it, because you never know if you'll be able to find them again. So now we finally get to use this thing and put it into the car. And I gotta say, it's a good thing that I did, because I have not seen one since then in a 52 millimeter size. And like I said, I think these gauges are some of the coolest gauges ever made. I already had 4 on the inside of the car, and I really didn't want to mix up, you know, gauges and all that stuff. I wanted it to be as uniform as possible. And I also really didn't want to replace all those gauges just to have all of them be uniform. So all in all, very lucky to have found this thing, and we'll get it popped into our little bracket thing that we made and get this thing installed. And boom, just like that, in there, super clean. I think I'll be able to see that while I'm driving. It's not like right in the line of sight, but it doesn't really need to be. Just something to monitor and look down at. So that looks super, super clean. I'm very happy with how that turned out. I love it when a plan comes together. I say there it is, but I'll have to do all the wiring and stuff like that later. But for right now, that will get it done. And we also went through, we got the gauge cluster in there, the instrument panel. We got the console plastics back on there. This section right here is basically complete right now. We got the dash pieces to go back on, but I'm gonna wait to put all that on, obviously. So to run through our full gauge setup here, we have oil pressure, water temperature, EGT, volt, AFR, boost, and I think that should be all that we need to monitor and keep track of and all that, which we're running out of space in here, actually. It's looking like an airplane cockpit, but you gotta do what you gotta do. All right, I think I'm gonna go ahead and end this thing off here. That's about all I can get done on the interior. Well, want to get done, I should say. There's a ton of work to do on the inside of this thing, but as far as like getting the car prepared for the first start and all that, it's about all we need to get done for like the gauges and all that kind of stuff to go. So yeah, in the next video, probably the next couple videos, we're gonna have some like buttoning up to do, fluids, buttoning up some wiring stuff, making sure everything is good to go, going over everything on the car. And so after that, we'll have the first start. So exciting, nerve-wracking times, but thanks for watching. I do appreciate it very much as always. Drop a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think about everything we have going on here, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.